Okay, you're good.
Let me see. All right, live to 8 people. Woohoo! Gonna wait for more folks to trickle in here. Status Coup in the house. Will be a little bit of a shorter live stream today. I got a family dinner in a little bit, but wanted to cover some things. We will have. Let me wait for more people to come in before I start yapping here. We're sending out the text, so that's good. Just published a new Substack piece, so we'll talk about that as well. Ooh, a fly just got on me. So smash that like button, share this live stream. More people that press the like button, more people that share the live stream, the more people that will see it. YouTube makes it difficult, needless to say, for people to know when we're live, but hopefully the text that we keep sending out will get to the masses. I'm just going to wait for a little bit for more folks to trickle in. Thank you for the text. Thank you for clicking on it and watching. Good afternoon. Carne Verde says share. Joseph already a super chat, $5. Hey, Jordan, I super chatted Jimmy to try to promote your channel, stream, and the idea of networking, coordinating a schedule with you, Jimmy Grayzone. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. I've been proposing to Jimmy and many others for a long time, more collaboration. So appreciate that. Came over here for the Jimmy Dore show. Thanks, HG Spiderman 56. Yeah, there's probably 25 other live streams because everybody goes live at the same time. But what are you going to do? Can't really control other people's schedules, can you? I see Jimmy had Aaron Mate on again. So that's interesting. Remember, press that like button, share this live stream. Important. We have an important video to show you that I am really proud of that Colin Tooley did. Colin, our editor and graphics guy and kind of jack of all trades, put together a great mashup of our recent reporting trip. If you haven't been able to watch all the videos, you might have not seen all of the videos because we were live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania over the last 2 weeks, in Cleveland, Ohio, in Akron, Ohio, in Louisville, Kentucky, and then West Virginia. But a lot of people didn't know because a lot of people didn't see, unfortunately. Didn't see it. But I am excited to talk about, nothing to announce yet, but we are discussing with some other folks right now, further collaboration between Status Coup and others that we would like to collaborate with. So hopefully I will have news on that in the near future. Also want to announce, if you haven't, Colin, I'll be saying this throughout the program today because obviously it's going to take a little bit for people to come in. But tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, we will have our members call on Zoom. Jen will actually be here in the house. She is right now in New York, so she'll be joining me in person. So we'll be together for the members call tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. So definitely, if you're a Status Coup member, you know the drill. It applies to patrons too, and YouTube members as well. We'll get the link because we have website members who sign up through our website. We have patrons, and we also now have YouTube members. So everybody will get the link from those 3 buckets for the call tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. We have a lot of fun, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Tomorrow. On the call. A lot of behind the scenes content to talk about. A lot of behind the scenes of the reporting trip to talk about. So buckle up. If you're a member, if you're not a member, what are you waiting for? Statuscoup.com/join. Statuscoup.com/join. You could become a member, which is how we fund this in the field journalism for as low as $5 a month. Actually, $5 a month is 16 cents a day. For many, they just don't have another $5 a month. We understand. I just put the link. Just put the link in the super chat to become a member. If you don't have the $5 a month, no problem. We appreciate your support, even if it can't be financially. If you do, I think over the last 2 weeks and what we're about to show you with this montage of our reporting trip is stuff that no one else is doing. Stuff that no one else is doing. And that I think is vitally important to expose throughout this country. But it costs a lot of money. Frankly, we spent, I don't have the exact number, but well over $6,000 on this trip to go 4 states over 2 weeks, 3 people. So that's food for 3 people, hotels for 3 people, gas, equipment we had to pick up. And do you know how much of a scam parking is in cities around the country? Unreal. We probably spent $200, $300 just on parking. So definitely support us. Statuscoup.com/join. You might think that $5 a month doesn't matter. As it builds up, it matters. It matters. And I don't have the exact number right now, but I think we're at about 1,860 Status Coup members. So we kind of keep getting close to 2,000 and then losing a couple members and then gaining. Hopefully we could gain more and more and more. Before I get into this montage, read another super chat. Steve Breedlove, $10. Like Joseph MCD, I super chatted asking Jimmy and co-host to have you on to talk about your tour, as well as Aaron Glantz to talk about how U.S. policy and Wall Street grift. We are with you, comrade. Well, thanks, Steve. Appreciate the super chat. Appreciate you standing up for me. I actually will say, I'm not going to get into details. Maybe I will on the members call. Hint, hint. Maybe I will on the members call. Hint, hint. But we have after I did my live stream yesterday, and I went on a bit of a rant about the TMZ-ification of independent media. I have had a couple hosts actually reach out to me. I won't get into the discussions, but I have had a couple hosts reach out to me with interest in collaborating and featuring our work. So that's not why I did that rant, but I guess some hosts that saw the rant, maybe reassess that, what we're covering is really important and they should make an effort to elevate it. So I look forward to, hopefully when more of that is solidified, I can announce it to you because, I appreciate from bigger hosts to smaller hosts, meaning, large followings to smaller followings, folks that actually give a damn and help elevate actual reporting, not to elevate Jordan or Jen, but to elevate the stories is the most important thing, which to elevate Status Coup, help us grow, helps get the stories to more people. So anyway, smash that like button. We got 100 people watching. We need a lot more. I know Jimmy's live and other people, so might be a smaller audience, but that's okay. Share this live stream. Create your own social media post. Create your own social media post to tell people we're live. If you don't know, many of you do, but if you don't know, we were on a road trip for 2 weeks. Let me back up and let me just hold on one second. During the pandemic, even though technically, who's to determine we're out of the pandemic, but during the heart of the pandemic, we went on a road trip. I don't remember the states, but we went on a road trip covering people suffering economically, people losing their health care. We covered Breonna Taylor during that trip. And we decided, you know what? We need to go back out there because there's an eviction apocalypse happening already. Like, I think the narrative nationally has been that, the moratorium's coming and that's the cliff, even though they extended it by a month through going out in the field, which again, I learned a lot of things and we uncover a lot of things that we didn't know by traveling and going in the field. We learned, oh no, people have been mass evicted throughout the pandemic because there's more loopholes in the federal moratorium than an amusement park ride. we also covered the exploding homelessness situation all over the country. Nowhere we went, including Philadelphia, Cleveland, Akron, Louisville, and West Virginia, we saw homeless tent cities in every place. We went back to Louisville because I think it's a scandal that this cover-up is going on in plain sight. The Breonna Taylor cover-up I'm referring to. So we did a lot of things. Went to West Virginia to actually investigate and dig in to Joe Manchin's crazy corruption, which shockingly corporate media is not covering. So we did a lot. And you know what? When you do 4 or 5 some days we were doing 4 or 5 interviews. Jen did interviews. I did interviews. Obviously, John behind the camera. There's so many powerful moments and revealing moments through those interviews, but we don't like have a producer. We don't have a team of producers. We don't even have somebody to help us book guests. So, sometimes these moments and these powerful sound bites kind of get lost. They kind of get lost because of, we're just on the move, interviewing so many people, covering so many things. So Colin, if you don't know Colin Tooley, who's usually on the members call tomorrow, I think he'll be on tomorrow night too. Colin just put together a montage, a mashup of this road trip that I think absolutely crystallizes what we just uncovered. The corruption, the greed, the injustice, the manufacturing of consent by the national media and local media, and what's actually going on. Just the tale of two countries in a way that I don't know any other person does. You retweeted praise from a WAPO hack. Yeah, I did. If somebody's praising our work, I'm going to retweet it. Sorry. So I want to play this clip. It's, I don't know how long it is, maybe 9 or 10 minutes. But I hope when we play this clip, I hope that when you think about what I was talking about yesterday and just frankly calling out the TMZ-ification of independent media. I'm not going to get back into it. You could watch my rant yesterday. We cut it up into shorter clips. Thankfully, for the most part, most people agree that reached out to me and the comments on social media. I really hope when you watch the montage of our trip, you get why I, and Jen will talk about it tomorrow because she'll be here. Jen was so infuriated, and I was so infuriated, and John was so infuriated and disheartened with just the lack of attention and the lack of coverage on these stories and the fixation and priority to not cover initially, because I never had a problem with, Aaron Mate defending himself against smears and others defending him against smears. I called it a smear before I went on the road trip. Jimmy going against TYT. That's not the issue here. It's just the endless, I don't know what week we're on now, 3-4 weeks of this. And genuinely other channels pretending that they're righteous and just covering an important story here that are just brazenly shoot for click pick. Who cares? At a certain point, you're just going for clicks. But I want to, and I think there's a little bit of a cult developing on the progressive left that we're going to talk about on our members call tomorrow. So again, if you're a member, we have a members call tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern time, 4:30 Pacific. Myself, Jen, John, the cameraman, will be on the call. I think Colin will be on the call too. Jen will actually be here with me in person, so looking forward to that. So definitely, if you're already a member, you know the drill. You'll get the link to the Zoom. If you're not a member, sign up. Statuscoup.com/join. Statuscoup.com/join for $5 a month. You get to join our members call and other behind-the-scenes videos. We also have a members-only Discord, which I would like to be more active. So I'm trying to get into Discord more. So I hope you guys get back into the Discord channel. So, Colin, without further ado, here is the highlights from our other pandemic reporting trip through Pennsylvania, Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia. Hit it. There's this framing that, we're getting back to normal. Things are getting back to normal. Well, I'm going around, and it seems like we're just back to the normal that's only getting worse.
If back to normal means we're back to being underpaid, it means we're back to being worked like dogs, it means that they're back to harassing homeless people, you can keep your f***ing normal.
Well, it'll never be normal again. Nothing will never be normal, particularly after the COVID. You know, so we already had it rough before then, and it's going to get even worse now.
But it's not exactly easy just to go back to work if you're houseless.
No, it's not. It's not easy to go back. I tried, but you also know you need to be able to fill out job applications and put a residence. My residence is the park.
It's a truly tragic situation, and the lack of a social safety net is one of the biggest problems in America right now.
I say we give the city a big you, all of us with our various signs, and just be like, we are coming together.
This city claims that their Office of Homeless Services provides a trauma-informed housing first practice. Not a one of them do.
The Democrats have basically tried to straddle the line where they're more woke and not verbally as offensive as the Republicans.
Same story, right? It's the same story every time. One's just like, one's read like a horror story and one's read like a fairy tale, depending on your eyes. But it's the same ending every time. Like we know how this book ends.
They're distracting from the real issues. Okay, the real issues is rebuild America from the bottom up. Okay, not the top down, the bottom up.
I don't care what color you are, where you from, or whatever. But until you went through it, they would never understand what it is to be an addict or a homeless person.
And what they're failing to understand is they aren't things that you can compartmentalize and separate, right? Like, healthcare is an LGBTQ issue. Healthcare is a black issue.
People here with housing are struggling very badly.
And from our neighbors, like these drug addicts do. And I think I've had enough. All due respect to you. You
don't like your viewpoint being challenged?
I don't like your intimidating tactics, quite frankly.
I'm intimidating you?
Never mind.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, but some people are trying to migrate and sometimes they're hanging in the park. So they just don't want that part to end up like McPherson Square.
So it's not so they're not trying to help you, they're trying to keep you out.
Yeah. Well,
We had a mother and her infant child put in a room with somebody with COVID symptoms by themselves in close quarters, less than 6 feet apart with no masks. We had shelters that didn't have running water. We had shelters that didn't have soap.
I'm just hearing so many groups and organizations, Facebook groups, that are handing out food, clean needles, things like that, and the government is doing, as far as I know, nothing.
Yeah. I run a group called The Handoff. And I also helped spark another group called the Heart of Schuyler. And pretty much that's what we do. We give out food. We give out haircuts. We try to put them into rehab if they want to get into rehab.
Things is looking up, and I'm going to continue to help everybody out here as much as I can. I'm thankful for Veronica for coming up, and for Jen, for you, Jordan, for John, because without y'all, I wouldn't even be having these opportunities.
The COVID pandemic just blew the top off of any delusion that we may have had. Normal for some people is painful, so we cannot go back to normal. We definitely have to see the promise in the problem.
A group like Democratic Socialists of America is having to come out in the rain, go door to door to try and help the most vulnerable people that are about to be homeless know their rights, connect them with legal resources, inform them on the moratorium. It's just really something.
Bipartisanship is a beautiful thing, if you can get it. But working with is a two-way street. And to the extent that we have a recalcitrant Republican Party who've made it clear at every turn, even though there are poor people in West Virginia the last time I checked, poor people in Arizona the last time I checked, there are poor people in every state in this nation.
And so this was the last property on the street, and they wanted the property so bad that they used very aggressive measures to obtain that property.
So basically what you're saying is this whole suspected that she was a drug dealer or working with a drug dealer or housing drugs or whatever was kind of just a artificial reason that they used to try and seize that property.
That's exactly what happened, yes.
To add insult to injury, the city bought that house for $1 on Breonna's birthday in 2020. To add insult to injury to that. It's mind-blowing that we have to go through all these steps and processes when the evidence is there that clearly this was a cover-up, it's corrupt, and they assassinated Breonna.
They didn't feel the need to actually investigate. They just said, oh, she's selling drugs, or she's really a law-abiding citizen with no record, with a whole EMT, all of these good things that's going for her, and you never really actually did any police work.
Here's the door. It does not close properly. And then like the lock, where it has the lock, it's all like chipped away. It feels like anybody could kick in the door at any time.
And a scholar talks about gentrification as almost like you can displace people and they can go somewhere, but it's really going from gentrification to racial banishment.
They worked with Patrick Madden to draw on a map the geography that was the trailer park, the result of which had been everybody had to leave the neighborhood.
The problem is no jobs. The problem is you got YMCAs where you got to pay to get there. Can't nobody afford a YMCA. They just built a YMCA in 7th Street.
Well, actually, I lost my job in August. Filed for unemployment benefits. Never received one payment from unemployment. I was actually evicted in March, but the reason why I was evicted was not for non-payment of rent. They went around that, and he evicted me for not being under contract.
What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? I am fixing to be homeless. And I never dreamed in all my life I would ever be homeless. I've worked my ass off my whole goddamn life to make sure that I had a roof over my head, and that trailer was good enough for me. And they called us a blight.
And then here, that the same thing, that they will fully publicize the legal and practical qualifications of officers, right? So this was gutted, completely gutted. Guess when?
Last year.
2 months after the 2016 state convention, where the Bernie Sanders delegates took over the state convention.
And those affirmative action committee is tasked with forming affirmative action plans, to develop inclusion, outreach, and things of that nature. And it's supposed to be drafted by us. However, that didn't happen. The plan was drafted by the executive committee, the very folks who were forced to establish the various committees, and we were just kind of told what we were going to do as opposed to actually being a part of it.
The mostly white executive committee leadership.
Yeah, for lack of better word.
I don't consider myself an expert on everything Manchin, but I will tell you that it's one thing. I mean, he goes on CNN, he very much talks about, the West Virginia Democrat, and, I got to be able to come home and explain things to my people. We're not who he portrays us to be on CNN and on Fox News.
Joe Manchin has been the thorn in the side of West Virginians for decades. He started out in the state legislature and, ran for governor in, I think, 96 the first time, and he lost the primary to Charlotte Pritt, who is a very pro-union, pro-labor, very progressive individual, and he actually started a Democrats for Underwood group, which was the Republican person on the ticket that year.
We started in Philadelphia, then went to Cleveland, then Louisville, now West Virginia. I say we could all walk and chew gum at the same time. We could cover the Twitter wars and the YouTube wars, but also cover the fact that people are dying in West Virginia, the fact that they got bad water in West Virginia, the fact that Joe Manchin, the Democratic Party here, is basically in bed essentially with the fossil fuckers and the Republican Party essentially. It's really, on one end, frustrating that these kind of stories aren't breaking through, but on the other end, invigorating when we're on the road. Because this is why we created Status Coup. It's also why we even make the effort to go out on the road, because honestly, unless you're speaking with people as up close as you can in person, unless you're seeing what's going on around the country, there's no way you could be connected to it. Oh boy, great job by Colin Tooley. And by the way, just so you know, the pain in the ass I am to Colin. I'm just being honest. Colin, can you put your mic on and your camera on for a second, if you're there? You there?
I can, yes.
I just want to say, I am a pain in the ass. I used to be a producer, so I guess I have more attention to detail. But Colin sends me what they call thumbnails, which is the images for the videos. I'm 7 out of 10. Saying back to him, change this for these montage videos. I don't know, Colin. How many times do I ask you for changes?
I mean, if you group it all, it's one big change per upload, if technically. But it's. I mean, I don't mind it too much because some direction and stuff, you know.
Yeah, and also, I think it's fair that we don't have the funding for Colin to be on the road with us. I hope one day we do, so he could join us on some of these trips. But it's also like, if you are the reporter in these moments and covering these stories, you kind of know what each one, what the meat of it is, or the vegetarian is for my vegans. So, Colin could try to, his best guess, pick certain clips, but he wasn't there, and he's busy doing a bunch of things for Status Coup. So he might pick a clip and I say, no, find this one, and I don't have really time to go through every single interview and give him explicit time codes. I wish we had a producer to do that. So hint, sign up as a Status Coup member. We could really use a producer to help us book guests, help us with logistics, help us with, getting the best clips out of these live streams and these interviews. But I am a big pain in the ass. I think most of the changes I asked for are reasonable, I hope. But you did a great job on that, so thank you.
Thank you.
So a couple of things before I go, because I do have a family dinner, which my wife is going to kill me if we're late to. Thank you for the super chat. Gigo Lobro 09. Thanks for covering the issues. Thank you for supporting it. A couple things. So Jordan is bossy. I meant busy. No, I admit I'm a pain in the ass. So a couple things. And Jen and I are going to go into this a lot more tomorrow because she was obviously on the trip and she did her own reporting. But to me, a major reason that we started Status Coup was under the principle of, can you imagine, even for one day, if those kind of stories and those kind of voices and that kind of corruption and that kind of injustice and that kind of greed and that kind of mass suffering and that kind of tale of two countries, can you just imagine, even for one day, if that was shown on a channel like CNN or MSNBC or somehow shown in the New York Times, Washington Post? Can you imagine just this in the trenches exposing the United Corporations of America? Can you imagine that? Like, I'm literally asking you, imagine it for a second. If that was our media system, you think a lot of people would be voting for corrupt Democrats or corrupt Republicans? Do you think a lot of these institutions basically delivering the corruption and in on it wouldn't have thousands, if not more, people outside their gates? Not because we are so special. It's status quo, or I'm God's gift to the world. Not so at all. But just taking the effort to drive in this case, because we don't have the funds to fly to 4 states and rent the cars in different states. Just taking the effort to research before we go to see what are the stories we want to cover, who are the people, finding the people we want to talk to. It's a lot to find all these people to talk to and get them to agree to talk to you. Just the effort to go. For example, the homeless individual, if you watch that interview, Kazim Griffin, we were doing another interview in the park, and we were all really tired because we had drove for a while and we had been up early. And he came over while I was doing a live interview, and he started talking to my cameraman. And after we ended the interview, John introduced me to him, and I said, "You want to be interviewed?" We didn't have that set up. I didn't know who he was. It's just because we were there doing another interview, and he came up wanting to get his story out. That's what journalism should be. We're certainly not perfect, but journalism should be actually going out there and giving a microphone to the people who are the victims of this Gilded Age oligarchy. This basically government by legalized auction. This government that is based on bribery. But it's not. It's not. And that's a major reason why I was so upset and ranting yesterday, was because I know already that the corporate media is going to do everything it can, not to cover these things, but cover them up. It's not a bumper sticker when I say that we cover what the corporate media covers up. It's the truth. But usually, before recently, we could at least expect, and we appreciate it always, for folks in our sandbox, progressive independent media, who, they might not themselves go out in the field or anything like that, which is fine. But for them to share it online, to elevate it, to occasionally have us on to talk about these stories. And as I talked about yesterday, I think a lot of not just viewers and progressive online, but even hosts have kind of just lost sight of why did they get into this in the first place. It's not to say we're not trying, I saw a comment, Jordan, stop trying to be the producer for other people's shows. This is not about dictating what other people cover or don't cover. It's about actually pushing people to do more than one thing at a time. It's actually pushing people. Sure, everybody loves a little entertainment. Everybody loves a food fight, right? We're humans. We're attracted to the train wreck sometimes. And in this case, like I said yesterday, I think Aaron Mate was more than justified to defend himself, go on other shows defending himself. Other shows were justified to cover it. Jimmy has been, it's totally his right to criticize TYT for as long as he has. Obviously, TYT has a right to defend themselves, even though I'm not a huge fan of them. And there's no problem with other shows covering that issue because it is valid. Aaron was smeared and other things. But my issue is, are you genuinely covering this for weeks on end because you think it's the most important story? And when I say covering it, I mean, you look at certain channels, it's pretty much all they're covering with all caps headlines. Because I don't think they do think that. I think people are trying to get clicks, trying to grow their channels, and using lowest common denominator stuff. But the truth is, and by the way, Socialist Girl, if you get no YouTube notification, email us. Email us screenshot of the live stream. Email us screenshot of your notification queue. Email us your YouTube username and the URL, which is at the top of your YouTube page, youtube.com/whatever it is. But at the end of the day, do progressives want drama or do they want results? You could like whoever. You could follow whatever channels you want. You could support financially whatever channels you want. But at the end of the day, those stories, and that's just a few of the stories we covered. There's a lot of stuff we have not. There's a lot of stuff we haven't published yet that you haven't seen. But that is just a few of the stories happening in this corrupt country. So I'm not asking for people to, other channels to stop exactly what they're doing, stop all other things and just cover what we're doing. Of course not. Honestly, if you don't even want to cover us as part of it, but just cover the stories, I can't say I understand why you wouldn't want to elevate actual indie journalists doing this without corporate funding, but that's fine. But at least walk and chew gum at the same time. Cover, YouTube, Twitter stuff, which again, I think there's validity to the coverage initially, but also cover these stories, because at the end of the day, if we don't come together to elevate this stuff, whether it's Status Coup doing it, or the Gray Zone doing it, or Abby Martin doing it, the few Aaron Mate doing it, the few independent journalists out there that actually do reporting, if we don't elevate that and find a way to counter the corporate media propaganda machine, good luck changing anything in this country. Because I've told you guys over and over again, sure, protest outside Pelosi's office, protest outside McConnell's office, do the marches, Sunrise Movement, Black Lives Matter, Indigenous, all of that. But don't forget, don't let the media off the hook. Don't let the corporate media off the hook. Where is the protest outside CNN? Where's the protest outside MSNBC? Where's the protest outside New York Times, Washington Post, BuzzFeed, Daily Beast? Peaceful civil disobedience. Why are they so comfortable as they help cover up the corruption we're showing you? Because they're getting no heat other than Twitter and YouTube hosts smashing them. So I really, really hope, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who supported that trip. A lot of generous donations, and a lot of people donated large amounts. Some people donated small amounts, but we really appreciate everything, because we know very few people watching us are, millionaires. I don't know if anybody is, frankly. And we know a lot of people are struggling. So thank you for deciding that this is necessary and you need to support it. I wish I could talk longer, but I have to go to a family dinner. Thank you for watching. Also, we posted a new, we're like churning out stuff on our Substack. And by the way, we have an intern this summer. So our intern has been posting, Christian Matre, I think I'm pronouncing it right. Christian has been posting pieces on Substack too. So go check out our latest piece. Yesterday, we did one just for paid Substack members. The day before, we did one for free subscribers on Joe Manchin essentially sabotaging progressive candidates in West Virginia. Today, we went in depth on the Breonna Taylor cover-up. That one's up for free. So you could sign up for free to Substack. Certain articles will be for free members and other ones for paid. Obviously, we'd love you to sign up as a paid Substack subscriber for $5 a month. But if you can't, join us for free, and you'll get a lot of articles and investigations that way too. Again, Colin, put it up one more time. Tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern time, 7:30 Eastern time, 4:30 Pacific is our members call. If you are a Status Coup member through our website, if you are a patron, if you are now a YouTube member, which we just launched, you will get a link through Zoom to join us. It's a lot of fun. We got a lot of behind the scenes stuff to talk about from the reporting trip. I'm sure, we'll share some other things, other people we're discussing right now, possibly collaborating with. A lot of things going on behind the scenes that you might not know about. So statuscoup.com/join. If you're not a member, you can join for as low as $5 a month. And I will be live again tomorrow with Jen actually here, and Jen will be here in person for the members call. Thank you so much for watching. Definitely read that Substack piece and share it on social media. We are continuing to do investigative journalism with not a lot of resources. Have a good night.